Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to more Scrap Mechanic Survival. Now, the full game is out, and lots of people are playing it. Now, you might find yourself having a bit of a hard time at the beginning of the survival mode, or maybe not. But if you are having a difficult time, and you want to find a way to make the first stages of the game a little bit easier, I've decided to make this quick start guide. Now, this is going to be a guide for the first couple hours of survival, where it's trying to be as efficient as possible. Now, during this run, I'm going to have a timer up in the top right corner of the screen. It's going to be showing the actual real time go by, because I will probably be cutting out some of the boring parts, or some of the parts that don't really need explaining. So, hopefully by the end of this, you'll have an idea of what I do, and why I do it a certain way at the beginning, to get to the kind of productive stages of survival quicker. Now, before we do get started with this quick guide run, I did want to reach out to you guys. If you guys have any tips or tricks about Scrap Mechanic Survival, let me know down in the comments. I'm going to be doing a comprehensive guide, not just like a beginner's guide or anything. I'm going to do a comprehensive guide that covers all of the things that you need to know and how you do certain things, where certain things are, to make it easier for a lot of the newer players who really feel lost in survival. So let's start a brand new survival world. We're going to call it Quick Guide, just like so. Now we're going to start the game. Once I'm in, I'm going to hit the timer. The timer is going to go up on the screen, and that is when the quick guide tutorial will begin. All right, so here we go. Brand new game. I am going to start the timer, and then I am going to explain to you guys the process of what I do at the start of a brand new survival world to get to a good point as quick as possible. So here we go. The timer should appear any second now. Okay, there we go. The timer has begun. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run towards the lake. Now, I am going to be grabbing a bucket right here. We're going to grab the bucket, pick up some water, and we're going to save that water for later. Now, we're going to get to this little farming outpost. This is the tutorial spot for where you would actually kind of learn how to play the game, learn the basics of the game as well. Now, we're not actually going to be doing that here, obviously. We already know what we're doing. What we're focusing on at this point right now is trying to get to a point where we can build stuff that we really want to. So I'm going to destroy all this. We're going to collect all of this wood here as well. And remember, like I said, we're not doing any farming here. So we can just grab all of our supplies here just like so. And I will grab another bucket, fill that bucket up with water as well. So now we've got the 2 buckets. We're not going to bother with the scrap wheel at all either. Now, I'm just going to grab the rest of the wood here. All right, so that is all we are going to be doing right here. I grabbed the rest of the wood, and now the next step in the quick start guide is we are going to head out into the woods behind that tutorial sign. Now, if we go in this direction, we're going to head up to our first building. Now, this is always going to be the same, guys. Every time you start a brand new survival world, you are going to start with this tile. So this is going to be the same run every time. Now, what I'm going to do here, though, is I am going to clear this area. I'm going to kill all of the farm bots. I'm going to loot all of the chests, and then I will see you guys in a moment. So you definitely want to grab all of these resources on the ground as well. Actually, the scrap metal is extremely useful when you want to start converting it into good metal to make things down the run. All right, so now that we have the first building all completed, what we're going to do is we are going to go down the crate lane. That's what I kind of call this area here. So this is, of course, going to be very similar every time you start a new round of survival. There is, of course, this crash path right here that has a lot of chest spawns, and there's also a lot of chest spawns around the ship itself. So on your way back to the ship, you are definitely going to want to grab all of these crates. Now, there is quite a bit of RNG involved with these crates, so some crates are obviously going to be better than others, which means that different survival runs will have different outcomes as well. So you'll have to adapt accordingly, but sometimes you can get very lucky with those crates and get some very useful things. Now, while you are scavenging around the ship, it's going to be very important that you grab some of this ember. You're probably going to want to grab maybe at least 10 of these embers before you leave the crash site and head towards your main base. All right, so I've grabbed my ember. Now, we have those 2 buckets of water from the beginning, right? Remember those buckets of water? We're going to use that water to put the fire out right here at the front of the ship. So why we want to do that, though, is because we want to get over here. We want to grab that light and that switch. So once you grab the light, though, and grab the switch, that's pretty much all you need. You can grab the locker here as well if you want to. It's actually a pretty useful thing. Now, you might be wondering, why are you not putting the power supply into the ship? we're gonna save it for later. And I will explain that in a moment once we actually need it. So this entire area is now done. We did the ship, we did the farming area, grabbed all that stuff. We looted this building right here. We grabbed our stuff from the ship that we found useful, and now we're heading on out, ready to move on to the next step. So the next step now is the transition period between the starting area and your first base, which would be usually the mechanic shop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear this area here. There's usually a lot of chests. Oh, I found a bearing. That's awesome. Yeah, so usually there's a lot of chests here. So you're going to want to kill all of the farm bots here, as well as loot all of these chests. All right, so there we go. We are just over the 10-minute mark, and we are completely finished with the beginning intro tile. So that means we've done everything around the ship. We did the little farming area. We did the buildings there. We did the building right behind us as well. And now we are done with that. So we're moving on to stage 2, which is the transition. So this is basically where you need to get some very specific things so that when you get to the mechanic shop, you're absolutely ready to make your first car. So what I'm going to be doing, though, is I am going to be looking for a couple things. So right now, I need a bunch of the beeswax as well as, I believe, more component kits. I need 5 more component kits, and I need, I think, 15 beeswax before I actually do get to the mechanic shop. So we're going to be looking around for that. I'm going to be hunting for the beeswax. I'm going to be trying to find some hay bots as well, so we can kill them for their potential component kits. And then we're also going to look for chests so we can find more there as well. All right, so there is the mechanic shop off in the distance. Now, a lot of people have been asking, even when I was streaming, like, Moonbo, where's the mechanic shop? How do you find the mechanic shop? When you're at the second warehouse clearing those farm bots, there is a road right next to it. You take that road, you follow the road. This is the road, by the way. I was off in the woods and stuff doing all of my looting and stuff like that, but this is the road that you take to get to the mechanic shop. And then you're gonna see a very large, bright wrench in the distance. You honestly cannot miss it, guys. Now, we are on our way there. We are really close. Now, if you look, see, we have 9 component kits, and I did mention that we do need 10. So that means I have to find 1 more component kit before we actually commit to going into this mechanic base, and this is just part of the process. Now, there are sometimes hidden chests around this area here, and I do know that there is a hay bot inside of these capsules as well. Oh, perfect. We just found this chest. We've got 2 component kits right here, actually, which is awesome. So we're going to get rid of that crate. Okay, we might as well kill this farm bot. It might be worth a little bit more metal. Okay, there's actually 2 of them. Okay, so hay bots can get crazy really, really fast, guys. You have to be really careful when there are numbers of them, simply because of the fact that they bounce into each other. And when they're bouncing into each other, it's almost like a frenzy effect where they get launched forward towards you and you can no longer back up from them. So you definitely want to remember that if you see them in large numbers, that was kind of weird, but avoid the hay bots. Okay, yeah, for some reason I just can't refine. Oh, maybe it's because my inventory's full. You know what? It's because my inventory's full. There you go. Even I am learning something. I mean, I guess I knew that, but I just didn't connect the pieces. But we should have everything that we need now to start this entire area and get it up and running. So remember that battery that we grabbed from the beginning? We're going to grab it, we're going to put it in here, and we're going to use that one for our starting point. Now, I'll show you why in a moment. So now we have everything we need for our Craftbot. So let's build our Craftbot. This is the most important thing that you're going to need in survival. So it should be the first thing that you make. All right, so here we go. Perfect. There's our Craftbot. Now, I personally like to put the Craftbot right here on the edge here. So now we're going to be doing a little bit of crafting. So we want some wheels, but clearly we don't have the materials that we need for them. So the first thing you're going to want to do, guys, is you're going to start refining your wood and your metal into the number 1 blocks. Now, while we do that, we can come here and grab our first wheel. This wheel seems to always be here on the mechanic shop spawn. So remember that you're going to have 1 free wheel. Now, while we do that, though, we're going to grab some of these and collect our wood, and we are going to start refining some metal as well. So we had a really good run so far up until this point, and I realize now that sometimes in your survival, like, seed, the new mode that you create, you'll run into what I call scrap towns. Now, these scrap towns are locations that feature a whole bunch of blocks and parts and seeds and all sorts of soil and stuff like that. So these are ideal spots for kind of like an initial loot. Now, in this case, we did not run into one on this end coming from our ship, which means I have to go in this direction now to find one. But it's very important to find one of these. And look at that, guys. I did not have to travel far at all. There is a big scrap town right here. Now, the things we're going to be grabbing, though, is all of the scrap wood. I mean, okay, we don't really have to grab all of it necessarily, but you're definitely going to want to grab a whole bunch of it. And there's even concrete in some of them, guys. A lot of very useful stuff here. You're definitely going to want to run into one of these at the beginning before you start focusing on the rest of survival. So one thing you can probably notice actually while I'm looting this is I don't necessarily have enough room for all of these supplies here, like the soil bags, the seed bags. I don't have enough room, but that's okay because this stuff is not going anywhere, guys. It's gonna stick around. You can come back to this location and grab more things as you need them. Now, I do realize one thing I should have done is I probably should have put my locker into the actual mechanic shop there and loaded it up with a few things. Now, that's a bit of an oversight for this quick guide, but that's all right. We're still gonna be able to grab a whole bunch of wood, which is going to be very useful. And like I mentioned, guys, this is way faster than chopping trees down. If you've noticed, I actually haven't chopped a single tree whatsoever. So now that we've got all of our scrap wood, we don't have to worry about chopping the trees. We're going to head back to the mechanic shop, and we are going to quickly finish up with the refining of our wood and of our scrap metal. And then we're going to be able to build our first car. And so we're about half an hour in to the quick guide right now, and I feel like it's honestly, it's a pretty quick method so far. I don't know if there's a faster way to get started right now, but I've realized that there's a lot of things that you can skip and take advantage of a lot of those resources a little bit later in the game instead of trying to build your first car right away. So we're back at the mechanic shop. I'm gonna make a little bit of room here in my inventory so we can start collecting these wheels. Let's just drop them off to the side just like so. Now we do need one more wheel, I believe. So let's see, what do we need? We need a little bit more wood. So let's put the wood on the crafting block, and look at this. 1,000 wood. Guys, 1,000 wood. All I had to do was steal it from that scrap shack area. So let that be known, guys. Don't chop trees. I'm telling you right now, it is a colossal waste of time. Just steal the wood. Now, we do know for a fact that for our car, we're going to need 4 wheels. So we have 3 wheels at the moment. We have our 4th wheel being crafted right now. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start making a few of the fundamentals that we need. So one of the things is a scrap seat. That is the first seat you're going to want. So we're going to start crafting the seat right here at this one. Collect the wheel. There we go. Okay, so now we've got 4 wheels. We've got the seat going right there. Now, one thing we can start using these for is actually our bearings. And these are pretty cheap, only 5 scrap metal. So we're gonna need, let's see, we already started with a bunch. We have 3 bearings to begin with, which is huge. That means that we only have to craft 3 more bearings. Guys, this is a very good start so far. So the beauty of having these Craftbots as well, guys, is you can craft 2 different things at the same time. Now, obviously this Craftbot is, you know, it's not very good. It doesn't craft the greatest stuff, but this Craftbot here is way better, obviously. Now, when you use both of them together, though, for bearings, you can actually double the production speed. So there we go. We have 6 bearings. We've got the 4 wheels. Let's see. I think we also have our scrap seat right here. And then the final thing we're going to need is an engine. Now, I like to check to see if I can make the first good engine right off the bat. So right now, I'm missing a little bit of metal and component kits. So that's not a big deal. I think right now, in this case, it's more efficient to do a scrap gas engine. We've got pretty much everything we need for our car. So I guess it's time to start building. So I like to build my first car with the chicken wire. That's what I call it anyway. But this is the mesh block. What I like to do is, you know, you got to be pretty efficient with the usage of your blocks. So I like to make like a thin style wireframe like so. I'm gonna grab my scrap seat and I'm going to stick it somewhere around here in the center. Now, right after that, I'm just going to kind of extend this out a little bit farther in front of the seat there so we have some extra room. And then back here, we're going to extend this a little bit farther as well. Now, it's really simple at the beginning, guys. You know, there's no suspension or anything. You're just going to want to go straight into putting bearings on the straight frame of your vehicle. And of course, like, that can cause for a bit of a bumpy ride, but there's something that you might have forgotten about that is going to make that a heck of a lot easier. Now, one thing I like to do for steering, though, guys, this is actually pretty cool. Because sometimes you want to be able to build and change your vehicle quickly. So if you put steering on this section here of your vehicle, it makes it a lot easier to convert your vehicle into a suspension vehicle. And the reason for that is because you don't have to disconnect the bearings, because disconnecting the bearings means having to remove more parts. And of course, if you're removing more parts, well, then that means you have to put more parts back. So there we go. So we've got all the bearings on. Let's put the final wheels right here. Now, I realize I think I might need to extend the width out here in the back just so that it matches the front. So there we go. Now that we have our 4 wheels, we go over to this craft station, we grab our scrap engine. There we go. We can stick our scrap engine. You know what? Actually, it's probably best to put the scrap engine on the front somewhere. So we're going to put this right here. Let's put a little mounting point. Now, remember I was saying, you know, a vehicle like this can be very, very bouncy. But there's something that we did at the beginning of the entire game that you might have forgotten about. And that is, we didn't use the power supply in the starting ship. We actually kept it so that we can use it here. And now we have an extra power supply. Now, this doesn't actually provide any function to the car. This is more of a weight. That's right, guys. It is just a weight for the back wheels. As weird as that might sound, it's actually a very useful thing to do. So I'm just going to place it right back here on the back wheels. Now, this is because when you don't have suspension on a vehicle, it can be a pretty annoying thing to actually do, and that is drive around without the suspension. It's super bouncy, really annoying. Now, you don't want to forget to do a connect tool as well. Look at this, guys. As you can see, we're just over the half-hour mark now. We're at about 36 minutes. And at this point, in 36 minutes, we've gotten our first car. It's a good car, too, because it's not going to bounce around. Our next focus, of course, is probably going to be upgrading the engine. Because one thing that's really important, guys, in survival is being able to move around from one spot to the other very, very quickly. So yeah, so I don't think we're ever going to need this Craftbot again. Maybe if we needed to craft some multiple switches at the same time as this one, that's the time you might use it. But here we go. Now we have our connect tool, which means we are ready to connect the engine to the seat and the seat to our steering bearings, just like so. And then our scrap engine to the rear wheels. So there is that. Okay, so now all we need to do is add our gas. And usually at the beginning, you should have a whole bunch of free gas from all of the looting and all of the loot crates that you went through. And there we go. So now we have our first car. We are ready to drive, and we're ready for the next step. Now, before you ever leave, though, you always kind of want to make sure that you have some stuff that is crafting. Now, if you do venture too far from your mechanic shop, the Craftbot will actually stop crafting, and I think that's just the way it loads and saves information. If you travel too far from something, it basically removes it from the game, and that's probably just to kind of make the game run a little more efficiently and have it a little more optimized. So one of my priorities is getting the drill, and this should probably be your priority as well. We've got our car, now we want our drill so that we can start mining metal from the rocks, because guys, metal is the most required material that you can ever have in this game. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to probably end up farming a little bit more metal and some water, actually. So I'm going to go get some water. We're going to come back and start creating our metal block number 2. Now, one thing that can be very unfortunate if you don't have water nearby, it's a huge hurdle. Now, it's very unfortunate because if you get to this point and you realize there's no water near your mechanic shop, you're pretty much at a bit of a disadvantage. Now, you don't necessarily have to stick around here, because realistically, once you create your Craftbot, you can start venturing out and using it for different things as opposed to just kind of building your base up. But I personally like to stick around here for a little while at the beginning, simply because the main giant bot there, or the Craftbot, or you know what, I honestly don't even know what I would call it. I guess it's kind of like the bot spawner, is right here. So you want to be very close to that so that you can keep on spawning your bots. So here we go. Now we can create one set of metal block 2. And actually, if we go get a little bit more water, we can do that again. All right, so we got our water. Let's collect that metal. Let's convert that water into the water containers, just like so. And so I think that should give us a pretty decent amount of metal, actually. Let's see. We're gonna grab this. You know what, guys? I think we might actually have our drill right away, maybe? Let's see. Yeah, let's craft. Oh, no, we're not. Okay, we're gonna have to use some of that metal. So we're gonna go out with our brand new vehicle, and we're gonna hunt for 2 hay bots. Oh, and I almost forgot, actually. Remember at the beginning why we put those fires out? Is literally so that we can find our first light. We're gonna stick it on. We're gonna turn it up to 20, and we're gonna drink something because we are gonna start dying soon. Okay, on the hunt for 2 hay bots, guys. Should be really, really simple. All right, there we go. We're back at our mechanic base. Now, I think I should have the required metal to build our drill. Okay, you know what? I realize now I'm actually going to be 5 short. I needed to kill 1 more farm bot, and I think I've heard one lingering around out here. All right, we got that farm bot. We're going to collect that metal. I guess we got to refine 1 more batch. So there we go, guys. In 10 seconds... we're gonna get ourselves our drill bit. This is a very important piece. Now, of course, we're gonna want to consider possibly, you know, actually attaching it to the vehicle. So we're gonna use our pipe pieces. Let's just stick one here, right here, and we're gonna set it not quite to the center, but kind of to the center. Now, I realize we do need 1 more bearing. We have just enough scrap metal. Look at this, guys. We're cutting it really close on this quick start here today. All right, so there we go. Now we're going to start crafting our drill. So that's the first thing we're going to want, guys. The drill is so important. It's so important. Metal is so important in this game. Being able to farm it efficiently is extremely crucial to succeeding and playing this game without feeling like you're grinding forever. So there we go. We got 1 minute left on the drill, which is going to be huge, guys. And so usually what I'll do at this point while the drill is going is I'm going to take a look here and see what I need for our refinery bot. Now, the refinery bot is extremely important. So let's grab our bearing here. Let's put that in our inventory. And then we're going to put that bearing right here on the end, of course, because that is where our drill bit is going to go. There is the drill bit right there. All right, so I just did a bit of thinking, and I realize now that the quickest thing to do is to go for our normal gas engine. This is what we're going to want to focus on now. So we need just a little bit more metal. We only need 15 metal, 5 crude oil, and 2 circuit boards. So I'm going to go on the quick hunt for that, guys. We're 47 minutes in to the quick start, and I feel like this is actually going really quickly. Now, obviously, guys, if you are ever going around trying to do your quick start, there are certain things that you are going to want to, like, go out of your way to grab. So if you guys ever see the beeswax on the rocks, you definitely want to stop and grab that. Obviously, if you ever see one of the loot crates, you're definitely going to want to stop and break that open as well. Now, I do realize I was about to go back towards our spawn area. Now, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go in this direction. We're going to look for what we need, and we should have our gas engine any second now. So one thing to note, guys, is when you're underwater looking for something specific, it's always good to grab everything along the way. So if you're looking for crude oil and you see one of those glue clams on the ground, it's probably best that you take a quick moment to stop, turn around maybe if you spot it, grab it really fast, and then keep on moving to the original thing that you were looking for. All right, so we're back at the mechanic base. Now, what did I say I was going to do? Oh yeah, I wanted a good gas engine. The good gas engine is honestly such a useful thing, guys. So I do have the metal required. I just need to convert it right now. So let's turn that over from scrap metal to good metal. So now while that new gas engine is crafting itself, we're going to move this one out of here. Now, we're going to use this scrap engine though. We're going to use the scrap engine for our drill bit. because realistically, you don't need super proper output or anything like that for the drill bit. It's more important that it's actually just spinning. All right, there we go. Our good gas engine is now complete. We're gonna put the good gas engine on our car. Let's hook it up to the seat. And now we're gonna have way more mobility, guys. Our movement speed is going to increase greatly. It's a huge step up. Now, sometimes what I'll do is upgrade my gas engine to a level 2 right away. And that allows for you to be able to do 4-wheel steering. But 4-wheel steering isn't really that important until you get to the point where you're carrying lots and lots of weight. So sometimes I might focus more on the Refinebot instead, because see, with the Refinebot, we're only 1 away with the component kits, and if we use it on the other thing, and then we're going to be way farther out. But now we have everything that we need with our car to start farming straight metal from the rocks as well as stone. And look at this, guys. So we're just about an hour in now. I have literally been playing this game for an hour, and I already have a drill car, and I'm already starting to farm rock. So look at this, guys. We have just farmed a whole bunch of this rock. We are now at the 1 hour mark, and look at all of this metal. Now, what I like to do is grab the metal and just connect it right here on the edge of the vehicle. This is usually, it's kind of like my favorite part, actually, is loading up this vehicle with all of these raw, unrefined minerals. So I'm going to put all of the metal on here. And remember, guys, we don't have to go looking for hay bots anymore. And that is why this is so important to get to this point as quick as you can, because hunting for farm bots for metal and materials is extremely unreliable. It's actually quite tedious, and that is where you start feeling that grindy effect, where you're not really accomplishing much. You're kind of spending more time moving around, wasting resources, than you are actually finding them. So I've got all of the metal loaded up. How many did we end up getting here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Look at that. That is 9. So if you guys do the math, 9 times 10, it's pretty simple math. We have ourselves, oh yeah, that's right. I can't use my lift right now. Have I just wedged myself in here? Okay, as I was saying, all we need to do now is head on over. We've got 90 metal, guys. 90 metal is huge. It's gonna go a very long way. So all we gotta do is bring it here. Now, I don't have a refinery at the moment, so I will be refining that by hand. But like I said, guys, we're an hour in now. We already have our drill bit. We're already going for metal. And for the refinery bot, all we need to do, look at this. We need no metal anymore. I'm gonna refine that metal, and all we have to do is go kill, like, literally 3 farm bots out in the wilderness. It's so easy. And there we go. So I spent, like, what, like a minute and a half, maybe, refining these. Now, this is another thing that's really good, is when you bring them over here on your vehicle, it's so easy to refine them right here in a row. When you're refining out in the wild, you actually have to jump around, you know, look at it over here. Oh, there's another one over there. You refine it there. You go for the next one. You're just wasting time going around. It's easier just to pick it up, stick it on your vehicle, bring it here for efficiency's sake, and then you can refine them all at once. So now, though, we are going to head on up here to our bot. So look at this. The refinery bot, we have 35 more metal than we need, and all we need is 3 circuit boards and 1 kit. That is super simple. We already have our resource collector. Look, we can build our resource collector, and then we're gonna have still enough metal left over for our Refinebot. This is huge, guys. Absolutely huge. Now, we're gonna leave this here, though. We definitely don't need it at the moment. Now, I'm gonna stick it to the ground, though, just so it is permanently fixed to the world. So yeah, so let's go get 3 circuit boards, 1 component kit, and then we're gonna have a refinery. All right, here we go. We're back at the base now, and I'm pretty sure we should have everything that we need for our Refinebot. There it is. So let's spawn in our first Refinebot. Now, let's do a time check. 1 hour, 10 minutes, and we already have our Refinebot, guys. Not wasting any time at all here with this quick guide. So there we go. Look at that. We now have our Refinebot. Now, eventually, though, I would put a chest here, but I'm not going to be continuing this world. This world, I literally made it specifically for a quick guide so you guys can learn what I do to start my game off. Now, I am going to do a quick little bit of farming with this container here, guys, and we're gonna see just how efficient we've become in just over an hour. All right, there we go. So I have added the resource collector here on the back of our vehicle. All I had to do was extend the wheelbase out a little bit farther, and that's good because now this power supply is a little more central in between the wheels, so hopefully it's going to add a little bit more evenly distributed weight between the whole vehicle. Now, if you do want to see why I carry it, let's take, for example, these metal blocks here. The net blocks, they're kind of like made out of metal. Look at the weight of those. That's 2 weight on those. We have a few other things. You know, beeswax is pretty heavy. These glue clams are pretty heavy. Even the buckets are pretty heavy, but look at the power supply, guys. The weight on the power supply is massive. It's such a useful thing to have in order to make your vehicle nice and heavy and stick to the ground. But yeah, so now that we have our resource collector, we are ready to do our first proper mine run, guys. We're going to be mining for some rock. We're going to be mining for some metal, and we are now at 1 hour and 14 minutes of gameplay. So if you guys have ever found that you're really feeling the grind of survival and you feel like it takes way too long to progress, then hopefully you might be able to see here that it's actually really not that bad as long as you know how to focus your energy. And look at this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hit the brakes, guys. Look at this beautiful rock deposit. We even actually have 2 farm bots here that's going to try and fight us. There we go. There is one there, and I don't pick things up, guys. That's a waste of space right now. I don't need to craft anything for painting just yet. But now that we have the resource collector, look at how much easier it is to be able to collect all of these different logs and refine them. Now, here we go, guys. This is it. After an hour and 15 minutes, we are now ready for some speed mining. So if you ever thought that, oh my god, I need to get this much metal, and you're like, oh, well, better go start farming for some hay bots, because I'm clearly not ready or kind of prepared to farm massive amounts of metal, well, think again, because now you can see that it's actually quite easy. So obviously, once you're done with that, guys, you have all of your minerals. Look at that. That's a lot of metal there, too. All you have to do is back your vehicle up. Check this out. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that. All of the resources. They're being collected for us. I don't even have to get out of the vehicle, guys. I can't begin to explain to you how easy this is. So let's back it up, grab some more. Now let's see. I'm going to complete this entire container, though. I feel like, you know, if I don't actually fill it up all the way, it's kind of like a bit of a waste of a trip. So let's grab a little bit more. So there we go, guys. Look at this. An hour and 20 minutes about, and we already have our first resource collector filled with stone and metal. Metal that goes straight to metal 1. It's not scrap metal. We don't have to worry about refining it any further. All we have to do is upgrade it at this point. So we're going to put our container storage thing here right next to the refinery bot. And look at this, guys. We are now automatically refining all of the things that we need. Now, at this point, there's a couple different things that I might focus on. One of the ones being a chest. The chest is super important because with the chest, you'll be able to actually let this thing run on auto all on its own. So right now you have to kind of collect the resources because there is only one spot for them. So if you do have multiple different types of resources in your container, then that means it has to go through each one separately, and you'll have to manually grab it out of this section right here. So there you go, guys. That is going to be this quick start guide for you guys. As you can see, after 1 hour and 20 minutes, we have the refinery bot, we have the crafting bot, we have a storage container or the resource collector as well, which means that we have basically automated our entire process. We also have the vehicle here that is extremely well equipped. It has 2 engines, it has the drill bit, the storage container that goes on the back of it here to automatically pick up all of the resources. We're mining rock, we're mining metal. We don't have to worry about hunting down hay bots anymore because look at this, guys. I literally just farmed 105 metal in no time. So guys, I really do hope that this quick start guide was helpful for you guys if you've been having a hard time with the grind. If you feel like it's taking too long, or maybe you just really didn't know what to do once you're kind of at the starting ship and you've done what you need to do there and you're feeling a little bit lost, hopefully this might help you a little bit in that regard as well, or maybe it's going to allow for you to get started and kickstart your survival game really, really fast. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody is enjoying survival. I am absolutely in love with it, and hopefully this guide was helpful for you guys. If you did enjoy the guide, then let me know by hitting that like button. Let me know what you thought down in the comments as well, and like I asked at the beginning of the video, if you guys have any awesome tips or tricks that you have figured out while playing the game, let me know and I will feature it in a video. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to tune in for some more Endless Scrap Mechanic, and I guess I'll be seeing you in the next one, so bye for now.